Hey guys, what's up? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and do whatever you want. Today I am doing a 2 a.m. cleaning my room because, well, spring cleaning and all of that fun jazz. So, because it's spring cleaning, it's different than normal cleaning. And those who do cleaning know that candle cleans are. Two candles. Let me grab my third candle. Oh. It's just for that. So I'm gonna put on something in the background, which is by Kendall Ray, and it is on a story that happened not too far away from my house and where I live, which is the Gannon Stotch case. And if anyone sees him or knows what happens to him, let someone know. The community just wants him home. And thanks for that comment. It's not really all that clean. That's just my bed and then my shelving, which actually has food. Because I'm doing shit that I shouldn't be doing, but it's whatever. I do it, I don't do it. It doesn't matter. First.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I never know how to start these videos. I never know how to start these more recent ones. This story I have been following just on local TV since it happened.
Liquid in it.
So it takes place in Colorado Springs, which is pretty close to where I live. Today I'm going to be telling you about Gannon Stone. And I actually will be doing a video about Gannon
today.
He has been missing since late January. But in the past week, the search for Gannon has been stopped. This is very fresh, very recent. So of course I wanted to tell you guys that I don't have all of the information right now. There's so much that is clearly being kept out of the public's eye from the police. There have now been charges filed. This is going to go into a trial. So there are parts that are missing here, and there will probably be new information coming out all the time in the next couple of weeks to months. So this is what I know as of now. Today when I'm filming is March 6th. So this is Gannon Stone. He was an 11-year-old boy from Colorado Springs who was missing on Monday, January 27th of this year. This is his biological mother, Landon, and this is his father, Albert, otherwise known as Al. Now, this next part is not confirmed. I want to make that clear, but there has been rumors. The reason that Gannon's parents got divorced was because he started seeing another woman while they were married. Quickly after they got divorced, he ended up marrying this woman, and her name, Gannon had been through quite a lot already at a young age, going through your parents' divorce, but his life had also started off really rough. He was born premature at only 2 pounds, so it was a total he probably would have survived, but he was a fighter, and he actually did survive, and grew up till he met. He just absolutely loved people. He loved to play with his friends, and he also loved video games, like what little boy doesn't. He was especially into Sonic, was very excited for the new Sonic movie that just came out. Unfortunately, he never had a chance. He was born in South Carolina, and his whole family lives there, and his mom's there. But then Al actually got a job in Colorado, and they decided to move. Al works for the Colorado Springs National Guard, and T used to be a teacher, but she actually got her license revoked. Al Her and Gannon were cleaning out the garage on Saturday when he somehow injured his foot. She said it wasn't anything crazy, but it did like a more rocky terrain. So obviously his injury on his foot wasn't too bad because she decided to bring him to Garden of Gods. So then they went home, and then later that night, Al got a text message from T that basically said that Gannon had knocked over a candle later in this video. So then Monday rolled around, and according to T, Gannon did not go to school that day because he was feeling sick with a tummy bug. T claims that she last saw Gannon around 4 p.m. that day because he left the house to go play with a friend. She just said that he needed to be home by the time the street lights came on. Now this is so weird to me because I don't know, in my house, if you stayed home sick from school, you were definitely not going to go out and play or go play with a friend. You know, if you were sick, you had to be in bed being sick or else you were going to school. So I already think that was an interesting choice. So eventually it got dark. 7 p.m. rolled around, and there was still no sign of Gannon, according to Letitia. So this is when they decided to call the police. And at first, the police actually labeled Gannon as a runaway, because that's really how T was portraying it to them. And the main reason that the police started to think this was because Letitia found searches on his phone, actually just one search, and it was asking if your parents could track your location if your phone was turned off. Than that, Gannon's biological mother, Landon, flew out from South Carolina to Colorado to help in the search efforts.
My son is a very loving kid. He wouldn't want harm on anybody. It's so hard to think, why is this happening to him? I have no clue. My kid deserves to come home. My kid has a purpose, and it's important to me, and it's important to everybody, wherever you're at. I mean, Daddy's here. We're begging and pleading for you to come home. If anybody has any type of lead, put yourself in my situation. Ask yourself, what would you do?
Step to it. Movie I went to recently was
what an incredible community you have. I mean, everybody in here and the team, incredible team that came out my front door. I think it was Tuesday, and 300 people out there searching my neighborhood.
A few days went by, and there was still no sign of Gannon. And on January 30th, he was changed from runaway to missing and endangered child. This was done for a couple reasons. Days it can be really sunny around this time of year, and then there can be blizzards. So on the days that Gannon was missing, there was a horrible snowstorm. It was really bad, and they were obviously concerned about him being lost out there.
Digging through deep snow, more than 80 volunteers continued the search for Gannon south in Douglas County Friday. They're focused on an area between Palmer Lake and Larkspur, using drones, dogs, and horses. Much of searching for him, even as the snow is coming down. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office says that they will continue working at night as long as they have solid leads to follow. One of the ways we know that they're looking for Gannon is by water, using a device called an ROV. It's basically like an underwater drone with sonar capabilities. It has the ability to capture photos and videos underwater and can even reach out and grab pieces of evidence to then bring to the surface.
There was already a lot of buzz happening on social media, but then something huge came out on February 2nd. Gannon's neighbor, Roderick Creighton, actually released a video that he had taken, a surveillance video that showed Gannon's house. And this video completely destroyed T's whole timeline, her whole statement. The fact that she said the last time that she saw him was at 4 p.m. leaving the house, that never happened or was been taken on film. But not only that, the video that the neighbor released actually showed Gannon and T leaving the house at 10:15 a.m. together. And
shows the boy getting into a red pickup with his stepmother on the day of his disappearance.
My Xfinity camera picked it up. Picked up him getting into the vehicle and her taking him off about 10, 6.
Mother later that day. A spokesperson for the El Paso County Sheriff's Department tells ABC News they do not dispute the neighbor's description of that video.
I watched the video. I could slow it down, speed it up. I know what's going on with her, so I knew something. She'd done something with him or to him.
Jordan started reviewing footage after a knock on the door from the FBI.
Kept looking through video.
the house, this time without Gannon. She tries to say that he was in the video. He did get out of the car, that you just can't see it because the truck is really high and you can't see the other side and some bullshit. But I'm sure you guys are watching in a shadow or some type of movement. We would have seen the car door open and close, something. Now, before Roderick even showed this video to police, he actually showed it to Gannon's dad, Al. He started crying and saying that she lied. She lied about the time. Now, Roderick has been huge in this case and definitely a good neighbor. That morning, he also saw Gannon and his little sister playing in the front yard. He was just getting ready to leave for work, and he saw them and said hello. They said hello back, but he just said that something felt off about the encounter. He couldn't quite put a finger on what it was. Now, once this footage came out, T started changing her statements. She claimed that earlier that day, that morning when they left, they were going to Petco together. Now, because Gannon was sick that day, he just said she was acting really weird while she was there. She apparently would go up to the front of the keys to go back to Petco around 1 p.m. for whatever reason, and she claims she bought a few more things. So this brings us to where they come back to the house at 2:30. T claims that Gannon did get out of the car without that car. When they were asking T more questions about who he was going to go play with that afternoon, she said he was going to go out and play with someone. She just said that she doesn't know. Really? He's 8 years video clip. Investigators from the El Paso County Sheriff's Department decided to search the Stout home.
The evidence comes from a neighbor's surveillance camera. Police have asked us not to discuss it or show you this video just yet. We've been out here outside of Gannon's home, staking it all day, and just a few.
Clear pretty quickly that her story just was sketchy and wasn't adding up, and they brought bags of evidence out of that house. And of course, we have no idea what it was that they brought out, but when they're bringing that much stuff, you think they probably found something. At the same time, there were still people searching. Let's jump back to
just randomly have a
the
Louis Vuitton
story
on my
that
floor.
I had told you about earlier in the video. Letitia texts Al and said that it lit the carpet on fire, burned it, and it was so damaged from this that she was going to have to replace the whole carpet. And it was at this point that T plans for you. It's pretty upsetting, but go ahead and listen.
Well, devastating. Initially, Scott can't lie when the TNT.
Okay, promise. He promised. All right, we're gonna have to sell stuff to fix it. Okay, so we figure out what we gotta sell. We can sell the sofa. We can sell whatever, because we gotta get it fixed. So, lady,
He's not right about the way that she is talking to him, the way that she's trying to scare him, the way that he's reacting. You can tell that he's upset, like she maybe just wigged the hell out on him, and now she's to prove her timeline, to prove her story about the candle, and I don't even know what she was trying to do, but I think it just makes the situation worse because it shows how weird their relationship was, and also makes you think it could have been scared of this woman. Now, there's been all these rumors about the carpet. A lot of people think that it was actually replaced a few days after he went missing. I don't think this can be confirmed, but if that is the case, that is extremely sketchy. Why would that be her concern when he's missing? You know, obviously you can replace your carpet fast. Of course, people stain their carpet or ruin their carpet and they replace it pretty quick. There are companies that will do it fast nowadays. But why would that be her priority when she has a missing stepchild? If you had, a carpet company scheduled to come replace it, you think you'd cancel because your child's carpet that she doesn't want people to know about. So as the days go on, Gannon is still missing. People are still searching for him, and T is continuing to post stuff on social media. She's posting pictures of them together, begging the public, saying how Landon has never really cared about Gannon and doesn't even want to be his mom, and basically dumped him off with her. And now she was being the mom. Pulled up videos of his mom on drugs on like an iPad and showed it to her one time. She said they were growing up living in and out of hotel rooms, and she was doing drugs all the time. And people in line were definitely starting to speculate that she didn't have anything to do with Gannon's disappearance. let's just have you take a look.
You are
Because I thought
I am Tisha.
the very first time you were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct. Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
So notice immediately she is concerned only with defending herself, clearing her name, and talking about the accusations that have been made against her instead of talking to have a missing child and they're trying to find them. I think it's interesting that she probably was the one who just asked her to do that. So I don't know if she's trying to just protect her identity or what.
Two really good detectives. You know, you're going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started to get when I would answer questions, they try to, you know, they're detectives. They're supposed to twist. The one main goal is the attorney would help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that that I needed help with. You know, there was comments about Gannon getting pushed off, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows and maybe they have all these theories on how.
Talking about how she expects an apology from the public.
I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online. The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband.
That seems to be all she is concerned about. Is that not the most alarming statement? Her message for her missing stepson is not Gannon, hang in there, you'll be okay, come home, we miss you, no one's mad at you. No, it's wrong. So of course when people start seeing her on TV in these weird interviews, everyone's starting to feel like this woman had something to do with it. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to feel like Letitia Stout clearly was
I'm not gonna worry
the
about
interviewer
that.
actually asked her about Gannon and how he is as a person, and she talked about him in past tense, which is just a huge red flag. She said
Day 12 of the search for Gannon Stout. And he's going to come home to his friends and he's going to come home to his family. A community is doing all they can to stay positive for the family.
We're still very much in high hopes along with them, and we're here to encourage them through the whole process.
Some wearing hashtag pray for Gannon and the words, may you always be brave in the shadows until the sun.
There I am.
but eventually they did suspend the search. And then on February 28th, investigators got an arrest warrant for Letitia. And then on March 2nd, the El Paso County Sheriff's Department held a news conference.
Thank you for your patience as we work diligently to piece together what led to Gannon's disappearance.
Well, we've yet to locate Gannon
Because you
this
know
morning just after 8 o'clock
that
a.m.
helps actually a
East
lot.
Coast time. Letitia Stout was taken into
Some
custody
stuff
in
for
Myrtle Beach, South
Christmas.
Carolina without incident.
Trash,
She will
that
be held
orderly.
without bond in the J. Reuben Long Detention Center in Horry County, South Carolina, where she will remain until she's extradited back to Colorado Springs on the following
Trash.
charges. Charge 1, murder in the first degree.
Used to be like really into
Child
these.
abuse.
Those statements, we know that police have a lot of information that we don't have. It's an active investigation. They, do tell us that there's no body that has been found. They're still searching for a body.
Let's take
He has passed.
back here real quick.
And
Hey.
he actually appeared in the El Paso County Court on March 5th, and a judge informed her of her charges, and she was arrested. So we probably will know maybe a little more information after that. And
Moving you again so you can see doing what
we
we
not do video with
um,
advice on anything that happens basically on our local news, which I watch every day after Ellen because I am a grandma. But I will put those on my Twitter.
all this, but
to be standing up here, but if I had to say one thing,
honestly,
Gannon is after the stories of people from all over the world. He's not only my hero now, he's the world's hero.
yeah, no, you're
States
going to
that I've never
Xbox.
visited, other than two. He just came from my boy. Never thought I'd be standing here.
Laundry.
The nightmare news Obviously, we know what the worst news is. The best news is that Justin did not deserve any of this that has happened to him.
Everyone in Colorado.
His update on Gannon hitting the community very hard. As you can see, Blanket out here earlier. Many people just stopping for a moment.
Up front, being very, being a kid, very playful, I'll be a better parent. I'll be more attentive to my neighbors. I'll be more attentive. I'll be a better neighbor.
Because I have stayed.
And my kids, I will hold my kids tighter. Again, I love you. Your family loves you. Your community loves you.
His mom said today, we don't want him to be forgotten, and he's never going to be forgotten. He will live on.
And there has actually been a petition started to change a street. To go ahead and sign that. I don't even know where to end this video. It's just so impressive. Having a child is always.
I also have
I didn't even talk about how she trusted
peppermint candy
with her son and how straight she feels. And I can't even imagine. There is a level of trust you have to have with anyone that you trust to watch your kids, and it's just kind of so devastating to find out he would be willing to harm them. I really want to know what happened. Obviously, we have no idea. So many different things could have happened. My heart just goes out to Landon and Al, who are dealing with this immense loss. To the siblings of Gannon who will miss him. I felt like even though the search for Gannon is over, it's still important to share his story because there's so many children out there like Gannon whose life have ended because of abuse from
search
a
isn't
parent
over.
or a step-parent. And it's just
It isn't over
devastating
until
every
the fat
time.
lady
I
sings,
really
and
want to
I
know your
ain't
opinions
saying
on what you think happened. Go ahead and leave your theories below. But that's it for me today, guys. I hope you're having a good day. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.
Good morning. Lotion. This one is going in this box. This goes right here.
Today, the Try Guys are reacting to comments we've gotten from all of you.
I am married.
From this.
Hold on now.
Stinks like shit.
Let's put on. Just some more information. Out there. Let's see what Doug the Bounty Hunter has to say on this.
Weighing in on the search for Gannon's dog is Colorado native Dwayne Chapman, otherwise known as Dog the Bounty Hunter. Dog has spent 41 years on and off tracking down people who go missing. He's been active on social media, sharing posts to help spread the word about Gannon. He says the sheriff's office is not releasing a lot of information to the public for a reason.
A lot of things we don't need to know because they're either the government or the cops.
Gosh.
If they really don't have any idea at all, cops would be like, listen, we need the public's help. Absolutely. And that's why they're saying it's under investigation.
To learn more about how he says the internet may be being used by investigators in this case and how detectives may be analyzing clues, just head to our website, fox21news.com.
What is this?
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about the case of Gannon Stalk, and there's going to be some things that we need to talk about in this case. I've been watching it, been keeping an eye on it for a couple of weeks. I didn't really want to do it at first because everything seemed so speculative, everything seemed so rumor-based, and at this point I just can't not talk about it, at least
initially, and then keep an eye on it as things happen. But this isn't the only time that I've heard the similarity between this case and the Chris Watts case be brought up. It definitely does have some similarities, and we're going to get into that. But first, I want to have a word from our sponsor. As you know, these videos are often demonetized. We talk about real people, real cases, things that need awareness, and we get demonetized. So in order to keep this channel going and to continue bringing you videos about these cases, we do need to take on sponsors, and one of our best sponsors, one of our most loyal sponsors, is Magellan TV. Now, Magellan TV is a new kind of documentary streaming service. If you like true crime, if you like history, if you like science, Magellan TV is going to be a great option for you. A documentary that is available on Magellan TV that I'd like to suggest to you is one called Murder in the Family, and I've suggested it before, and I still think it's one of the best ones on Magellan that I've ever seen. It talks about a lot of tragedies that have recently happened that have resulted in the deaths of small children, and it seems like in our coffee and crime times in 2020, in a lot of 2019, many of the cases we talked about involve a young child. And this documentary kind of investigates whether the people who commit these murders deserve compassion or understanding, and tries to get to the bottom of why people do this.
When you buy a grave, you don't even buy it thinking that you're going to put your children in before you. Where does that come from? Where do you hide something like that in yourself?
I've always said that I've never mind it, and if I don't get it, you don't wish it anybody else. That's the way I look at it.
I'll never forgive John for doing what he did. Why did he do it? Why didn't he take me with
Here.
Magellan TV has over 2,000 documentaries, many of them available in 4K for no extra cost, and they're adding more every single week. You can stream Magellan TV on your phone, on your tablets, to your Roku or Apple TV, really anywhere you are, at any time, you're able to turn Magellan TV on and watch something that you want to watch. And there really is something for everybody. So if you're interested in trying Magellan TV out for yourself, what a great wealth of documentaries and knowledge are on there. Please go to the description box and click on the link. Magellan TV is offering viewers of this channel a free month trial. You can cancel after if you want to. There's no contracts. You're not tied into anything, but I really don't think you're going to want to. Once you get on there and see everything they have and all the cool new documentaries they add every single week, you're going to that I think there's going to be a lot of opinions. And I've said before, I don't like to speculate on who's guilty and who's not. And I said that in regards to the Heidi Broussard case, because people really came after her husband and the father of her children really quickly after she went missing. It was an immediate kind of reaction after he did his interview that people were saying he was guilty. And I didn't approve of that. But at this point, with the evidence that we have, and there's so much evidence we don't have, there's so much the police are keeping close to their chests. There's so much evidence we don't know. Things that even as, armchair detectives, we can look and say, there's something missing here. This doesn't make sense. If we could just fill in these blanks, we could put this together better. But I do think in this case, the police are doing their job, even though there's a lot of people out there who are saying, what the heck's going on? Why haven't there been arrests made? Why don't we know more? I think that the police are keeping it quiet for a specific reason. But let's talk about Gannon. So Gannon, an 11-year-old boy from Colorado Springs, and he was last seen Monday, January 27th. His mother, Landon, she lives in South Carolina, and Gannon appears to have lived with his father, Albert, who's a member of the Colorado Springs-based National Guard, and his stepmother, Letitia Stauch, or T as she is called, so that's what we'll call her from now on, we'll call her T. She's reportedly a teacher or has been a teacher. It's a little foggy on what she was doing now, but I do know that in the weeks leading up to Gannon's disappearance, she was applying to be a flight attendant in what looked like Denver and Miami. So the story with Gannon is when he was born, he was severely underweight, under 2 pounds, and he was given a 10% chance of survival. But he did survive, and he thrived against all odds. He was described as a really sweet, kind, fun kid. He loved video games, especially Sonic. There's video footage of him playing video games and talking about the video games as he's playing, as if he was doing a YouTube channel. And it just struck a note in me as a parent, as a mother of an 8-year-old boy, very much like my son Aiden. So I immediately felt connected to this case. And I know I feel connected to a lot of these cases that involve children, because I have children of all varying ages. I have an 18-year-old, I have an 8-year-old, and I have a 3-year-old. So when things like this happen, I do find myself connecting and finding similarities in these kids to my kids. But I think that's a good thing. I think that we need to see ourselves and our children and our loved ones in these victims, in these people that are gone missing and turning up dead, because we somebody that is dear to someone. We need to really take an interest in it and feel as passionately about it as we would if it was our own child. So I'm going to go into the timeline, but much of this is into question due to evidence that's surfaced after she gave her initial statement and due to her constantly changing story. So according to T. Stout, she last saw Gannon leaving the house to meet up with one of his friends on Monday afternoon between 3:15 and 4 p.m. This was the day he went missing, Monday. At first, he was classified as a runaway, and a big reason that he was initially classified as a runaway was because his phone was left at home, and one of the last searches on his phone was something like, can my parents find me if I turn my phone off? Or can my parents track me with GPS if I turn my phone off? In my opinion, this is quite an elevated thought process for an 11-year-old, but we'll get to that. He had also not gone to school on that Monday because allegedly, according to T, he had a stomach ache. So his biological mother, Landon, she arrived to Colorado Springs from South Carolina, where she lived and where they were from. And that was on the evening of the 28th. She obviously wanted to be there where her son went missing, help look for him, talk to police. It also appeared that Gannon's father, Albert, was away in the days leading up to and the day of Gannon's disappearance. So he was away doing some military training. So the only adult who was with Gannon when he went missing was his stepmother, T. Stout. His status was upgraded from runaway to missing endangered child on January 30th, and there was allegedly a few reasons why his status was upgraded, one being his very young age, two being the weather in Colorado. It was very snowy, it was very cold, and there was some allegations that he had some medical issues he needed medication for, so that's why he was upgraded from a runaway to a missing endangered child. Very soon after his disappearance, T's version of events would be called into question when her timeline didn't add up. And this is mainly due to a surveillance video of a neighbor's and very big questions. So she said he left for his friend's house that afternoon. But the surveillance video doesn't show him leaving for his friend's house that afternoon. In fact, it shows him leaving with his stepmother at about 10:15 a.m. on Monday morning. So I'm going to play the surveillance video for you really quickly and then we'll discuss. A local media station allegedly uncovered this surveillance video when they were going door to door in Gannon's neighborhood in what they called a blinding snowstorm. When they were talking to one of the neighbors, this neighbor pointed them in the direction of another neighbor, saying that this man had surveillance video of Gannon the morning he went missing.
There's this stuff. There's that. Lines. Dish. Here's this. information on that makeup I have. I'm trying to get it to where my sister just has to come in and vacuum tomorrow. The stuff be done. Another purse. This my shoes up somewhere. Need a box or bag or somewhere. Quick. I'll just put it in a pile. And then when my sister comes in, I'll pick them up. Like that. That's no. That's organized. Okay, where are we watching this so quickly?
So as you can see in this video, right, T gets into her truck, which is parked at the street. She pulls backwards into the driveway, and then Gannon can be seen walking slowly to the truck, getting into the back seat. The same hours later, around 2:20 p.m., but this time without Gannon. The neighbor who provided this video has been identified as Roderick Drayton, and he told the media that he showed this footage to Gannon's father, Al. And when Al saw the video footage, he broke down crying and he said, I knew it, she lied about the time. Now, Roderick had felt that there was something off in general with Gannon that morning. He'd seen Gannon playing in the yard with his little sister when he left for work that morning, and he'd said hello to Gannon, but he said there's just something didn't feel right. And when he found out Gannon was missing, he went into his surveillance video to go to the time where he would have been leaving for his friend's house, allegedly, according to T. But he didn't see him leaving for his friend's house, so he rewound the video until he did see Gannon, and that's where he saw Gannon getting into the truck at 10:15 that morning. Now, according to T, after they left the house that morning, they went to Petco, but Gannon wasn't feeling well because he was sick and he was being kept home from school. I don't know why you would bring a kid shopping when he's been kept home from school and he's not feeling good, but he wanted to stay in the truck. So she went into Petco, and the woman who checked her out, an employee of Petco, said that, yes, she was there around 11 and she bought 3 dog sweaters. But T's behavior while she was in that Petco was incredibly suspicious. She kept walking over to the front doors and looking out at the parking lot. Now, police also allegedly contacted this Petco the Wednesday after Gannon went missing to see their surveillance video and to verify the story. So obviously they're onto something, that something's off here. The timeline doesn't add up. And allegedly, T went back to Petco around 1 p.m. and bought some more stuff, but there's no record of what she bought. I'm sure the police have it. I'm sure they have surveillance, but there's no record. Now, what I would like is 1 o'clock when she was at Petco the second time. Now, T claims when she got home around 2:20, Gannon was with her, but he got out on the side that was facing away from the security cameras, so you just can't see him getting out of the truck. But in my opinion, he was not in that truck, and he didn't get out of the truck. You can look clearly. It's a truck. It's higher up from the ground than a car is. And you can clearly see underneath it. There's no shadows of anybody getting out the other side. And, I mean, this may not seem relevant, but he got in one side of the truck when he was getting into the truck at 10:15. The truck that was facing the security cameras. But then he got out on the other side of the truck. And kids are a creature of habits. I have an 8-year-old son myself. He always gets in and out of my SUV at the same door. The same place. I'm sorry, this case upsets me a little bit. He always gets in and out at the same place. So not that that's an obviously glaring sign that she's lying, but I don't believe that Gannon was in that truck when they got home. But that's just my opinion from watching the video, which I have several times. You guys watched the video. You've seen it. Give me your opinion whether you think that he got out of the truck. Do you see any shadows? Do you see any sign that Gannon South was with T home at 2:20 the afternoon that he went missing? There's also no video proof from this neighbor surveyed around 3:15 to go to his friend's house. You don't see him leaving the house, walking away, going down the street. You don't see any of that. T's story has often changed several times, and this to me is the most suspicious and the most glaring of anything when you're changing it to fit whatever new information's come out. You're changing it to fit whatever the current framework is. And I don't like that because in reality, there's one story. At first, she said she was working out inside the house when Gannon had come in and asked her, could he go to a friend's house? And she said yes, which is also like, as a parent, if I kept my kid home from school because he was sick, I'm not going to let him go and hang out at a friend's house later. First of all, I don't want him to get his friend sick. I don't want to be that parent. And second of all, you're so sick you had to stay home from school. You're going to be in bed all day. You're not going to be playing video games. You're not going to be playing outside, which he was also seen doing. You're going to be in bed recovering from your sickness, but maybe she's a different kind of parent. So she also claimed she didn't know who his friend was. She made the statement, I don't keep up with who his friends are. Also irresponsible parenting. I would know all of my kids' friends, especially if they're 11 years old. Like, do I know all of my 18-year-old's friends? No, but she's in college. Do I know all of my 8-year-old son's friends? Yes, especially if I'm letting him go to their house. But later, she made it seem as if she was inside and then somebody came to the house to get Gannon and they left together. And then all of a sudden, she had a name and a description of this person. Now, I want to break away from Monday really quickly, and I want to go back in time because there's been some speculation about Gannon's condition. When he was seen walking to the truck Monday morning, it seemed like he was injured, maybe walking very slowly. And I agree, he was walking really slowly. So I theorized that either he was injured in some way or very scared, like he didn't want to get in the truck with her. This leads us to wonder what happened in the days leading up to Gannon's disappearance. And although we're never going to really actually know what happened, due to T's own admissions, we have an idea, a general idea of what happened the 2 days before he went missing. So in a later statement that I will read to you in a bit, T said that she and Gannon were working in the garage on Saturday evening. They were cleaning the garage apparently, and Gannon hurt his foot badly enough to have it bleed. And then according to T, she bandaged it up and he was fine. But then Sunday, T, Gannon, and Gannon's younger sister go hiking to a place called Garden of the Gods, which according to the website is a national natural landmark with towering sandstone formations against a backdrop of Pikes Peak. There's photographic evidence of this hike, but obviously Gannon's foot was not injured badly enough from the garage incident on Saturday night to keep T from thinking it was a good idea that they go hiking the next day. Now that evening, T sent a text message to Gannon's father, who remembers out of town, and it says something like, don't freak out. Here's the candle story. According to T, Gannon knocked over a candle and it burned the carpet off badly enough where, it just wasn't salvageable. And later she'd release, of her own free will, a video she claims she accidentally took in the aftermath of the candle incident. So she claims that she wasn't meaning to record this, that her phone just turned on accidentally, and she recorded a couple of minutes after the candle incident. Now, as a warning, this audio makes me feel like curling up into a ball and just disappearing and just sobbing. It's horrendous. It's awful. In my opinion, it's just awful. So it is really troubling to listen to. However, I think it's really, really relevant to the case. And I don't think you will understand the fullness of this case unless you hear it. So I'm going to timestamp if you want to skip it, but I suggest if you want to know everything that happened in this case and you won't really have a good understanding, you need to listen to it.
And I promise this is the last time I'm going to ask you. I'm just freaked out, okay? Are you sure you didn't do it on purpose? Okay, you promise. You promise. Pinky promise. Okay, all right, so listen. All right, we're going to have to sell stuff to fix it, okay? So we figure out what we got to sell. We can sell the sofa. We can sell whatever, because we got to get it fixed so the lady don't be mad at us and kick us out of the house, okay? You got it?
She claims to have accidentally taken this video. But she also claims that it proves her timeline and her innocence, which I don't think it does either. But there's so much wrong with this video, right? He knocks over a candle and she keeps asking him to promise that he didn't do it on purpose. Promise me you didn't do it on purpose. Promise me you didn't do it on purpose. And when he responds to her, his voice is the voice of a child who is traumatized, distraught. This is not the voice of a child who didn't get yelled at or didn't get any repercussions for the candle incident. And this is the first time she's asking him about it. And she says something like, I'm sorry I freaked out earlier, but this is bad. The rug's going to be destroyed and we need to sell something in our house in order to replace the rug so we don't get kicked out by the landlady. Like I said, his voice sounds like she's been yelling at him and berating him, and maybe worse, allegedly, in my opinion, for a while. There's so much wrong with this video. There's so much wrong with her story. First of all, most carpets, 2020, okay? Most carpet, especially if it's in a rented house or townhouse or apartment, it's going to be flame retardant. It'd be pretty hard to set a carpet on fire with a candle. Could you do it? Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you soaked the carpet with gasoline and put like 5 candles on there and knocked them over, I suppose you could. The most that's going to happen, in my opinion, I'm not a carpet expert or a flame expert, but in my opinion, the most that's going to happen is there's going to be wax all over the carpet. And yeah, it's going to be a bitch to get out, but it's not impossible. It doesn't mean the carpet's ruined. You can have it professionally cleaned for a couple $100. It'll be fine. The fact that she's making him feel so bad about this, which I'm sure was an accident. I don't see any kid purposely overturning a candle on the carpet. Most likely an accident. The fact that she's berating him and making him feel so bad about it and making him feel responsible that they might have to sell their couch to replace the carpet that I don't even think needs to be replaced, it's an issue. And to me, it shows maybe some long-standing, at least mental and emotional abuse. If I'm going to be speculating, and I suppose I am, but if I'm going to be speculating, I think that the candle thing and the carpet thing was gaslighting. There have been rumors and speculations and allegations that the carpet in the Stout home in the days following Gannon's disappearance was pulled up or replaced. So what happened on that carpet that she felt she needed to berate him so badly about selling something in the house to replace, that she felt really she needed to pull up? I don't think it was burned. I don't think it was burned. I think that possibly, allegedly, maybe, she may have hit him hard enough to make him bleed, and that's why she's, I'm sorry, freaked out earlier, and that's why he sounded like he was sick, or if the doctor's appointment was made previously. Either way, he didn't make it to the doctor's appointment. However, T claims she called into a nurse's line and spoke to them about his stomach. I also don't believe that Gannon hurt himself in the garage on Saturday. I think both the candle story, the candle video that was accidentally taken, and the garage story was T's way of covering up the fact that she hurt him and that his blood would be found in the house, because all this stuff came out after the CSI team was seen in the Stout house removing bags of evidence. So most likely, if Gannon's blood had been spilled in that house, in the garage, in the living room, regardless, it would have been found by the CSI team. So she's now got to come out with a story of search that was made on his phone the day he went missing. How would my parents find me if my phone's off? That search, I don't think that was made by him. I guess it's something an 11-year-old could think of, but I don't really know a lot of kids who would run away from home and purposely leave their phones behind. He could have removed a SIM card, and it would have been a lot harder for his parents to find him. He would have found that in a Google search. He really only searched that one Google search. There wasn't a lot of like, oh, if I run away, are my parents going to find me? Or how can I make it less likely that my parents find me if I run away? There wasn't multiple searches done. It was just that one Google search. So I would even go as far as to say that somebody else, not saying who, but somebody else did that Google search on his phone purposely to mislead people. Additionally, in the days after his disappearance, T Stout took to social media to post pictures of her and Gannon together and pictures of the family, and to make negative statements about Gannon's mother, Landon, is that Al and Landon were married, and Landon and T were close friends, but then T and Al started a relationship while Al and Landon were still married. So obviously there's going to be some jealousy, some resentment, some bitterness. It doesn't really excuse the kind of things that T is saying about Landon on Facebook. And here's just a couple examples. She's deleted all of these, but screenshots were taken. So she says, this girl cared nothing about Gannon and all the reason Albert is supporting her until the truth comes out. This girl would go days without calling her kids, gave them up for a man who was involved in criminal activity, got on drugs, and posed posted nude, but I think she means posed nude. I really don't care what any of you say because she is a piece of shit getting money off her child when she don't have shit and ain't never been shit. Her fake cries is alive. You are some wannabe reporters behind a keyboard. T. Stout also posted this about the surveillance video. First, the neighbor sold the video for money. Then there was another one from the other side that was sent in, but they haven't released it because of these want-to-be detectives. It's a tactic to keep idiots busy while we find Gannon. Gannon's mom didn't give a shit about him or his sister. She had them at motels, abusive situations, criminal scenes with her husband, did drugs. Heck, Gannon even found her iPad with her doing drugs, and we have pictures of those. Albert rescued them from guns in the back of their cars, police stops, living place to place, no home, and even had to fly on a plane from Alaska through the night to bring them back to us because she changed schools 3 times and had no place to live. I don't know if any of this is true. It could be. However, I think that if T. Stout had these incriminating pictures and she had proof of these things, she would have posted them on Facebook because she posted everything else. She had no problem posting a bunch of allegations about the things that Landon, Gannon's mother, was into and all the reasons why she wasn't a good mother, which is the most pointless thing to do when a child's gone missing. This isn't the time to attack each other. You might not like each other, but this kid that you all, allegedly claim to care about is missing and could be in danger, and you're spending your time talking about keyboard warriors and literally slaughtering the reputation of this woman whose child is missing. It's a bad take, and it's a hard pill to swallow as somebody who's watching it. T-Stock also gave an interview after getting a bunch of flack on social media for her changing stories and her suspicious behaviors. So in this interview, which is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen or ever heard of, she keeps her back to the camera almost the entire time. She's got lots of things to say. I'm going to play that interview here for you, and then we'll discuss.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
Where did you see him when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats.
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20 some death threats already. 2, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home, and of course I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't.
Okay, so right there she says her husband's ex-wife is living in the home. Now, this obviously hasn't been said, but people have speculated, and I do believe that once Elle saw that it looks like Landon is living there with him, most likely not in a romantic way, but just to help him and to work together to find their son. Then she goes into talking about the El Paso Police Department, and this isn't El Paso, Texas. It's just the county that they live in Colorado. She makes a lot of allegations. She says that they told her that she wasn't compliant, that they denied her many rights, such as to get a lawyer, such as drinking water, such as going to the bathroom, that they were horrible to her and her 17-year-old daughter who, is in the Army and fighting for this country and all of that.
And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, and in doing the investigation, I was told I wasn't compliant. And can I elaborate on that?
And well,
yes, so
I guess I didn't make it
during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I believe, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, said I still wasn't compliant, or said I was, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied.
The video. So I just have to vacuum, which will happen tomorrow. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.